Pause for a moment and listen closely to the voice of your Heavenly Father, speaking to you with both tenderness and urgency. I know your life is full, and there are countless things vying for your attention, your responsibilities, distractions, fears, and worries. But in this moment, I ask you to stop everything. Not because I seek to burden you, but because what I am about to reveal cannot wait any longer. This message is unlike any other. It is not one that can be postponed or ignored. It has been carefully prepared in heaven, written with eternal love, and sent directly to your heart. I speak to you now, I, the Lord your God, alongside my Son Jesus Christ, who constantly intercedes for you, and with the Archangel Michael, who has been dispatched to fight for your soul. Together, we deliver this message because we have observed your life, your thoughts, your struggles, and we see that something within you is not as it should be. Yes, my child, I have seen what lies within you, and I know that you have felt it too. There is a restlessness deep inside, an unease that you can't fully explain, a weight on your chest that seems to come and go, but never truly fades. A silent ache that follows you, even when you're surrounded by others. You smile for the world. You do what's expected of you. You fulfill your duties. But when night falls or when you're alone with your thoughts, that sadness returns. The one that you can't seem to quiet. The emptiness that no one else can fill. Though you've tried to remain strong, positive, and hopeful, there's a part of you that is crying out, longing for relief, and desperate for help. You are not well, and you don't have to pretend with me. I am your Father, and you cannot deceive me with outward appearances. I see beyond the surface, and what I have seen has moved me to intervene. You have overlooked some of the signs I've sent you, but know that each one has been given to you with love. Some of the signs I've sent you appeared in the words of those closest to you. Others came in the form of dreams, and still others were wrapped in the difficult circumstances meant to awaken you from your slumber. But despite all of this, you continued on your path, confused, distracted, and busy, leaving those signs unanswered. I do not fault you for this. I understand that the enemy has surrounded you with many voices, convincing you that you are alone, that your struggle is meaningless, that hope has run out. But today I come myself to tear away the veil of those lies. You are not alone, and you never have been. I know you've wondered in silence if I hear you, and you've even doubted whether your prayers ever reach the heavens. You've whispered in your heart, "Where are you, God? Why do you remain silent?" Let me speak to you now with eternal truth. I have heard every word you've spoken, even the ones you couldn't say aloud. Every thought, every tear you shed in private, every desperate cry from the depths of your soul. I was there, and I heard it all. I have kept every moment close to my heart. Nothing has escaped my attention. Not even a sigh you've uttered has gone unnoticed. I am closer to you than your very breath. I feel your pain deeply. I know your anguish. I understand your struggle better than you understand it yourself. And not only do I understand, but I also carry it with you. I have not abandoned you, even though you may have felt that way. When trials stretch on and help seems distant, the heart grows weary and begins to believe lies. But today, with all certainty, I tell you, I have never taken my eyes off you, not for even a second. My presence has never faltered, not even in the darkest moments. When everything seemed to be falling apart, I was there, holding together every part of you that felt shattered. Perhaps you didn't see me, but I was steadying you. Right now, I am moving in your life, not in the surface things, but in the deepest, most hidden places where no one else can reach. I am arranging things you do not yet comprehend, and I am doing it all because I have a glorious purpose for you. Beyond the suffering, beyond your failures, beyond your weakness, there is a calling, and it is that calling I am stirring up in you today. There are aspects of your life that must change, not as a form of punishment, but because I want to rescue you. You have been walking too close to the edge, and the danger that lies ahead is far greater than you realize. That is why, with great seriousness, I speak to you today. You have 7 symbolic minutes left. This is not a literal countdown, but a spiritual warning. Time is running out. You can no longer delay the decisions that will impact your eternity. You can no longer continue ignoring the voice that has called to you time and time again. I am calling you once more, and this could be the final call, not to frighten you, but because I deeply desire to give you life, true life, eternal life. Stay here with me. Do not close this message. Do not brush it off as if it's just another coincidence. I have placed it before you today because your soul is far too precious to be ignored. This is your turning point, your call to awaken. It is the spiritual shaking you have needed for so long. Open your heart to me. Listen with all your being, for what I reveal to you next will be deeper, clearer, and more transformative if you choose to stay and listen. It is no accident that you are hearing this now. It is not a coincidence. Every step has been guided by my loving hand. Before you were even born, before the first breath entered your lungs, I already knew every single one of your days. I formed you with purpose, tenderness, and divine intention. You are not the product of mere chance, nor are you a forgotten face in the crowd. You are the work of my hands, the precious treasure of my heart. And now, with every word I speak to you, I am reaching out my hand again, calling you to return to me with all your heart. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by confusion? I understand. I have seen every moment when your mind was torn between what you know is right and what merely appears enticing to your eyes. The world, with all its empty promises and fleeting pleasures, has attempted to seduce you with paths that sparkle on the outside but are empty within. The voices of this generation have grown louder than my quiet whisper, and amidst the noise, you have struggled to hear the truth. You may have doubted, wondered if you are truly hearing my voice clearly, or felt lost without direction. But today, I say to you, do not be discouraged by this inner battle. That very struggle, that effort to choose the light even when darkness surrounds you, delights me deeply. I see your attempts to choose what is right, even when everything else seems to pull you in a different direction. I see when you turn away from temptation, even when it hurts. I notice when you close the door to sin, even when that door promises immediate comfort. I see when you choose to pray, even when you feel too weak to do so. Every one of these actions, though they may seem insignificant to you, is monumental in my eyes, because they are signs that my spirit is still working within you, guiding you, drawing you closer to the truth. Even when you strayed, even when you run, I continue to call you. I surround you with my presence, and although you may stumble, you are never condemned. My grace does not retreat when you fall. In fact, it covers you even more in your weakness. You are never alone in this battle. Michael, my faithful archangel, hath been assigned to guard you. Yes, you who are reading these words now. From the very beginning, angels have encircled you. Michael stands by your side, sword in hand, not to bring judgment, but to shield you with divine protection. The unseen forces trying to lead you astray have not prevailed, for my army has fought for you in secret. Have you ever wondered why, after a time of deep confusion, you suddenly experience an unexplainable peace? That is not by chance. That peace has been placed within you by Michael, by my spirit, and by the heavenly warriors who fight on your behalf in my name. You are not defenseless. You are not exposed. You are sheltered by my presence and my power. Every prayer you lift up, even the faintest one, even the one you can barely form into words, is heard. And not only heard, but each prayer is a weapon in the spiritual battle. It is a flame that pierces through the darkness. Your prayers are never in vain. They are powerful tools in my hands. Each time you call upon my name, the forces of darkness tremble. Every time you invite my presence, the chains the enemy tries to bind you with weaken. Never underestimate the power of your voice when it reaches heaven. Your soul is priceless, far beyond any earthly wealth. The heaviness you feel in your chest is not punishment, nor is it a sign of condemnation. It is the stirring of your spirit, a divine signal that something deep within you is yearning to return, to seek a more intimate connection with my heart. You are not being crushed by life's weight. You are being awakened by my love. I allow certain discomforts not to harm you, but to lead you back to me. I understand that the noise of the world is deafening and the distractions are endless, yet my voice remains, quietly waiting to be heard, calling you by name deep within your soul. In this moment, be still. Yes, make a conscious effort to silence the external chaos, to pause the rush of life, and to momentarily let go of your fear. As you listen to these words, open your heart as you would open a field ready to receive rain. Do not resist any longer. I am here. I, the Eternal One, the Holy God, the Redeemer of your soul, am present, and I long to flood you with my peace. Not a fleeting peace or a superficial comfort, but a deep peace that flows into the most broken, hidden parts of you. A peace that restores what once seemed irretrievably lost. A peace that rekindles hope even where only ashes remain. Feel my nearness and remain in my presence, for what comes next is essential to your awakening. I have seen the decisions you've had to make lately, some made in fear, others in uncertainty, some feeling like you were walking without enough light. Even in those moments, I have never left you without guidance. Although you often felt alone in the fog, I was with you in every step, even in the trembling ones. I watched with compassion over each path you questioned, and I never abandoned you. I know the frailty of your flesh, the noise of your thoughts, and the weariness of your soul as it battles between what it desires and what it must do. Your weakness does not surprise me, your past does not scandalize me, and your present does not weary me. What I have formed, I sustain. What I have called, I prepare. What I have chosen, I shape with eternal patience. Nothing in your life has been unseen by me. I know the moments when your soul felt torn in battle. The pull of the world has been overwhelming, disguised in beauty, power, and fleeting pleasure. Its voice does not shout. It quietly seduces. It offers paths that seem easier, more comfortable, but in the end, they are empty. The confusion you felt has been real. Many voices surrounded you, speaking of freedom, but hiding chains. You walked paths where everything seemed to sparkle, yet your soul ended up more exhausted. I do not condemn you for being tempted. I understand temptation well, for my son faced it in the desert, with no bread, no water, and no human companionship. I know how heavy the struggle can be between what appears right and what truly is. Not everything that glitters comes from light. The adversary does not appear as a monster but as an angel of light, which is why so many stumble, thinking they are advancing when they are not. This is why I have sent warnings and whispered truths when everything else around you screamed lies. You have felt a conflict within your heart, torn between the immediate and the eternal. There were times when you chose what was quick, what was visible, what seemed immediately gratifying. Yet, even in those choices, my hand never withdrew from you. For where mistakes multiplied, my grace abounded even more. Where walls of deception were built around you, I caused seeds of truth to take root. And those seeds remain alive, waiting to be nourished with obedience, humility, and surrender. There exists an invisible world, more real and lasting than what you see with your eyes. In this world, a great battle is taking place for your soul, not a struggle between illusion and darkness, but a clash between eternal truths and cleverly disguised lies. In this spiritual battle, you are not forsaken. My army surrounds you, with Michael, the commander of my heavenly hosts, assigned as your protector. He does not announce his presence with noise or spectacle, but acts with precision, intervening when danger looms undetected. There have been times when you experienced an unexplainable calm amidst chaos, a peace that descended without cause or reason. That was not coincidence. It was my divine protection. It was my warriors, with swords raised high, blocking the arrows aimed at your mind and spirit. You are not alone in this fight. Every time you have cried out in distress, heaven has responded. Your prayers are never empty echoes. They are like smoke rising as incense to my throne, heard by me and acted upon by my angels. They are the language of those who refuse to surrender. That is why, even when you feel exhausted, every whispered prayer, every thought directed toward me, is like the roar of a lion before my armies. The gates of hell tremble when a weary soul chooses to lift its gaze toward me. There is much that you do not understand right now, and that is okay. You do not need to have everything figured out to keep moving forward. What I ask of you is to trust, to rest in the promises I have given you, rather than relying on your fluctuating feelings, because feelings change, but my word remains constant. My purpose for you has not expired. It has not been derailed, nor has it been diminished because of your mistakes. I am still at work. I am dismantling the limitations that once held you back, silencing voices that spoke destruction over your life, and awakening a heavenly awareness within you. You were meant to walk in high places, not crawl in the dust of the temporary. The heaviness you feel is not punishment. It is the cry of your soul yearning to return to the source of its origin. It is your spirit recognizing that nothing in this world can truly satisfy it. It is your body remembering that it was never meant to simply survive, but to reflect my glory. When anguish comes without explanation, it is because I am shaking your foundations not to break you, but to rebuild you. What went weak will fall away, and what is true will remain. From the emotional ruins, I will raise something eternal. I waste nothing, not your pain, your mistakes, or your tears. I use everything to fulfill my purpose. The peace I offer you is not the peace that the world gives. It is not an external calm. It is an inner presence that flows from within and transforms everything around it. It doesn't arrive in a grand spectacle, but like a river moving slowly yet inexorably. This peace is searching for you now. It is entering the deepest parts of you, where thoughts intertwine with your soul. is entering the wounds you've carried for so long, not to erase them from memory, but to heal them. It touches the root of a weariness that cannot be explained by physical exhaustion because it originates in the spirit. This peace does not rely on external circumstances changing. It is based on your trust that I am with you in the midst of them. What lies ahead is not easy, but it is the truth. It may not be comfortable, but it is necessary and filled with life. None of this has been meant to confuse you, but to awaken what had been dormant within you. For what I placed inside you still burns, even if it sometimes feels like a faint ember. I will breathe upon that ember, and the fire will reignite, bringing with it the direction, clarity, and strength you thought you had lost. There are things within you that have yet to fully awaken. These are not mere natural abilities or talents that the world admires, but eternal deposits planted deep in your being long before you ever saw the light of this world. They are not dead, even if you have at times forgotten them. They are not lost, even if you believe the time has passed to develop them. What is eternal does not fade. What comes from me does not wither or age. It simply waits for the right moment to emerge, and that moment is approaching. For many years, you have walked with a divided heart. You have yearned for purity, yet carried burdens that you did not fully understand. You tried to fill the empty spaces with achievements, routines, and relationships that seemed to provide meaning but ultimately did not. Deep inside, you always knew that there was something more, something that had not yet been activated within you. It was not a lack of earthly direction, but a spiritual calling, a constant reminder that you were made for deeper communion, for a higher life, for a greater purpose than anything you have known up to this point. Not everyone comprehends this kind of restlessness. Many suppress it, dull it with distractions, or mask it with endless busyness. But you could not escape it for long, because what is inside of you responds directly to my voice, even if you do not always recognize it. What is in you is marked by the eternal, which is why what satisfies others never fully satisfies you. It is why you cannot find lasting peace or fulfillment in the things this world offers. It is why, despite having moments of stability, deep within you, the longing remains a longing that cannot be articulated by human words. It is your spirit yearning to return to its source. It is the original design reclaiming its purpose. Your internal questions have not gone unnoticed. You have questioned your worth, your role, even your identity at times. You have felt like you do not quite fit into certain environments, like your perspective of the world is different, as if part of you is always observing from a place that is more sensitive, more awake. This is not weakness or confusion. It is part of the way you were created. It is a sign that something within you has been preserved and protected, even when you didn't know how to care for it. There were times you tried to conform to the molds others set for you, roles that never truly belonged to you, paths that others mapped out for you based on their own fears or limitations. Yet, the discomfort persisted, not because you lacked capability, but because you were never meant to live according to the world's design. You were created to live according to the blueprint of heaven. I formed you with a unique spiritual structure, not to be a copy of anyone else, but to be an unmistakable expression of my will on earth. That is why every attempt to fit into something that was never meant for you only resulted in greater emptiness. But none of it was wasted. None of the time, the experiences, or the struggles have been for nothing. Every moment has been part of a much grander process, one that you may not fully understand yet. What seemed like a delay was actually preparation. What you perceived as punishment was, in fact, protection. What you felt as abandonment was, in truth, formation. Now, you stand on the threshold of a new season, no longer lost in the shadows, but beginning to understand why your life has been so carefully watched over and fiercely guarded. The assignment I've placed upon you is no light matter. It is not a burden of oppression, but a glorious calling. I have held you in moments when you didn't even know how close you were to giving up. I have intervened in situations that would have otherwise broken you in ways you can't even fathom. I have redirected paths that you thought were opportunities but were, in fact, disguised detours. I am fully committed to you, to what I have planted inside you, and to the promises I have made over your life. I am not like men, who change their minds or walk away when things go wrong. My faithfulness is not dependent on your action but on my eternal covenant, and that covenant remains unshaken. Very soon, you will begin to notice that what seems stagnant will start to move. Not because the world will suddenly shift in your favor, but because something within you will be reawakened. Your spiritual perception will begin to sharpen. Those dormant senses of your soul will rise once more, not through human effort or striving, but through an awakening that I am causing through my presence. This is not something you can mimic, nor is it something you can learn by observation. It is an inner transformation, a birth of understanding that will lead to a clear vision of the purpose that has always awaited you. Do not be afraid if, in this process, certain things around you begin to unravel. Sometimes, it is necessary for certain structures to crumble so that what is true can rise. Not every relationship will be able to walk with you on this new path, nor will all the places you once inhabited be able to support the work I am about to do. The new requires space, and that space will be created as you release what no longer contributes, what no longer strengthens the plan I have set for you. I have not come to offer temporary comfort. I have come to reveal deep, eternal truths. These truths will become the foundation upon which you will build what is yet to come. You are being aligned not with the expectations of others, but with the frequency of my will. Everything that does not resonate with that frequency will begin to show its fragility, not to cause you fear, but to set you free, because what remains firm in me is never shaken without purpose. You have felt a tension that words cannot describe, a tension that does not stem only from the external, but rises from within, where real decisions are made. Before you now lies a crossroads, an invisible intersection between the comfort of the past and the necessity of what is being revealed to you in this moment. It is not easy to understand for those who have not been called to the same level of spiritual responsibility, because not everyone experiences that pressure from the soul, crying out for direction, for purpose, for something greater than what is temporary. That pressure is not a burden you must bear. It is an echo of my voice marking a transition in your life. You have been called to stop reacting impulsively out of the urgency of the flesh and to begin responding with the stability of the spirit. This is no longer about simply surviving the days. It is about walking forward with clear direction. You are being granted vision, not through grand external signs, but through a growing clarity that arises from within. This is spiritual maturity. When what once seemed confusing begins to fall into place, not because your circumstances have changed, but because the clarity has emerged from within. That clarity does not come from the strength of your own reasoning, but from the stillness that allows my counsel to enter without resistance. True transformation doesn't happen when external circumstances shift, but when your perception is renewed. This is what I am doing with you now. I am teaching you to see from a new perspective, not from the height of human judgment, nor from the desperation of your emotions, but from eternity, There are things you are facing that will only make sense when viewed through the lens of the eternal. The more you allow yourself to see from a higher perspective, the less fear of the unknown will control you. Fear has quietly accompanied you on your journey, often taking the form of caution or logical reasoning, but at its core, it has served as a barrier, preventing the full flow of what I want to accomplish within you. Not because you don't long for it, but because deep inside, there's a fear of losing control. And I understand this fear. I know that over time, you've learned to build walls to protect yourself because you have been hurt, disappointed, and judged unfairly. These walls, though they have shielded you, have also isolated you. They have not only been emotional walls, but spiritual ones as well. These defenses have kept you from experiencing certain depths of my presence, depths that can only be reached by those willing to open up fully, to surrender themselves entirely. The barriers you've created, though they provided protection, have also held you back from the freedom and closeness I desire to share with you.